Test. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the fourth quarter GXC Inc. Town Hall. Being told to play Christmas music. It's not a bad idea. Except licensing and all that, and they'll kick us off. We'll keep it going. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you're happening to tune in, really kind of thrilled with the turnout. Last time had about 130 or so different teammates tune in to kind of hear what's going on. It's important to me that it happens because I take this time to make sure that we share with everybody what's going on. Because we hear a lot, people want to know what's going on. So the best way you can get that is by either catching this when it's live, and if you can't for whatever reason, then taking the time to watch it after the fact. So thank you for being here. And if you're watching it after the fact, thank you for doing that. So again, welcome to the Q4 2025 Town Hall for GXC. Again, the reason we do this, transparency, communication. We want to stop at nothing to make sure that you know everything that's going on here for no other reason than when you're sitting around the holiday table and everybody's complaining about their job. I'm not saying this place is perfect. Maybe we fall into that. Maybe we don't. You could at least talk about some of the really cool things that are going on here and that your organization's involved in and you yourself might be involved in. So again, transparency and communication is huge for us here. These town halls are the best way we have to be able to reach you. And as we close out 2025, this is our first full year of doing one every single quarter. And I'm proud of that because it's something that we wanted to make sure occurred routinely. And from what I understand, consistency is the hallmark of any bit of success. So the fact that we were able to do every quarter repeatedly, really proud of that. So thank you for Angela, Chief of Staff, putting this together, making sure everybody gets the link. I know you see her emails all the time, just to make sure everybody can find out what's going on. It's really important to us. I used to joke all the time that as we closed the year, sort of a pull from Game of Thrones, that winter was coming. Winter's coming, and typically that means that our event season's heading downhill. Broadway kicks up a bit because of the holiday season in New York City and Times Square there. Our FPS contracts are pretty steady. Probably a little bit of a downturn only because of all the federal employees being on holiday leave, and certainly, again, all the events going away. Chea, the manufacturer where we do a lot of field service, our countermeasure technicians, they close for a couple weeks. We really start to slow down, and winter comes, and we kind of catch our breath a little bit and get ready for the next year. But unlike any year since we've started this organization, it's appearing like winter's not going to come for quite some time, which is a great thing, but also a recognition on my part of the fact that our responsibility has grown so far and so wide and so vast that we're now in demand year-round. And those federal buildings need protecting year-round, 24/7 in some cases. So events are now becoming a lot more prevalent during this holiday season. We have some coworkers of ours out there servicing metal detectors at the airports during the busy holiday season. So everybody's going full bore, and we can't not acknowledge that. If we take a look back in 2025, I think we really had the best opportunity, and we took advantage of it as far as I'm concerned, to just show how important it is to establish ourselves as a protection-based organization. Nothing here is, in my view, rhythmic or predictable, which is good because monotony sometimes breeds complacency, and things start to go stale. And 2025 was anything but that. And maintaining that protector first identity is going to carry into 2026 and beyond. No matter what it is you think you do or how you do it, you are a protector. Whether you're on post, whether you're establishing a metal detector for a client, whether you're doing that at a school, whether you're setting up an x-ray, like, your job is to make sure people remain protected. That's number one, top of the priority tree and priority list. I need everybody to really, really embrace that and lean into it. Where we stand at the end of 2025 is in a position that is really having us emerge as not just an industry leader, the industry leader on a couple different fronts, which we'll get into as we move through this town hall. What we're seeing and what we're going to see in 2026 is a bit more of a global responsibility, whereas we had a couple requirements across the globe last year. I think in 2026, you're going to see us really catapult into different continents outside of Europe and outside of the U.S., and we'll get into that as well. I don't think I've really done a good job of explaining the whole people protection process in the past. So whether or not you're new to our organization or you've just never heard me talk about it, I want everybody to know what people protection and process really means. It's not just a clever little alliteration with the P word, or with the letter P, excuse me. There's meaning behind it. And our initial tagline as an organization was mission first, people always. If you know anything about me, you know that I do everything I possibly can to reserve the mission and make sure that we're accomplishing it, whatever we're responsible for accomplishing. But I do like to keep the focus on the people. And I've said this before, and I firmly believe this. While these are my initials here, I'm now firmly under the wings of the Eagle, which is comprised of all of you. Without the organization and everybody that's in it, we don't have a company like this. And that's why I put a lot of my focus on the people here, the jobs they have, the responsibilities they hold, and do everything I can to give as many resources as possible to take the work out of the job. That's the theme. So nobody really knew what mission first people always meant in terms of commoditizing your company. So it was rang a little bit hollow. So in an effort to enact on or act on some really good business advice from somebody, they said you got to let people know what you do, and you have to do it in a very succinct way. And the people protection process aspect of our tagline here is connected in this way: the people utilize the protection countermeasures, the weapons, equipment, whatever it might be, through the people, sound principles of protection and equipment and technology, through, and then good, firm process, tried and true, tested, industry standard process. Those three things make up a protection profile: the people, the technology they use, and the processes they wish to provide consistent results. So that's important to me that you all understand that it's not, again, just a clever alliteration. It is it's a point. Another P. I want to get into a little bit of what we accomplished in 2025, sort of just rehash over all of the town halls, things you might have heard. So from the beginning of 2025, we made a big acquisition and bringing a lot of really great people over from a company formerly known as ESCO, which put us into a lot of big spaces in the events arena. They're formerly known as our technical operations group or team. They came over and we immediately kicked off with the Super Bowl, into the MLB in Tokyo, countless NASCAR races. Really catapulted us into a big space, protecting a lot of different people, and really started to propel our team in that way. We started multiple contracts from the U.S. Virgin Islands contract, where we put federal security officers on the islands of St. Thomas and St. Croix, to the islands of Guam and Saipan, way out in the Pacific. We started expanding our global footprint a bit outside of the continental United States. Took hold of the Indy 500 yet again. We've talked about that before, that being the single largest event in the world, and then continued on to just mow down the industry in terms of acquiring new customers through word of mouth, through the great work people were doing, and really took hold of the reins of this industry and found ourselves in the most important places, protecting a lot of really, really high-profile events, which is fantastic. As we began to close out 2025, we hit a little bit of a growth spurt, and I say that proudly, but also a bit cautiously, because I know the effort that it requires by the team to withstand all of what I'm about to read to you. In the last, let's say, 45 to 60 days or so, we were awarded the ICE, an ERO contract in Guam and Saipan, where we have our teammates out there helping us stand up a new requirement for a federal contract. We partnered with Allied Universal Services through G4S. We won the FPS contract for Southern New Jersey, where we're partnered with Allied, and going to be protecting federal facilities from mid-New Jersey down to the southern tip of New Jersey. Obviously, we have the Delaware contract already, so kind of creates a nice big chunk of geography that we control in the federal landscape. And then also operating in Maryland, and then off of New York out into Holtzville. We're now sort of starting to have some connectivity in our geography, as opposed to hanging out in the Pacific and the Caribbean, which is nice. We were also awarded the FPS Kentucky contract statewide, which will add alone about 120 new teammates to our organization. Southern New Jersey is going to add about 40 or so. The ICE ERO for Guam and Saipan is a little bit smaller. I think it's only about 4. And then we also won the state of Alaska contract, which was really awesome. That's going to add another 50 or so teammates to the organization. So we're looking at adding upwards of about 200 new teammates to GXC, and protecting now bigger spaces and bigger pieces of geography. It's kind of funny. You look at our federal protective security officer program, we like surrounded the United States, and now we're moving in. And now we have a flag planted right in the middle of the country there in Kentucky. And that Kentucky contract is really important to us as an organization because the government evaluates us under past performance, meaning how big of a contract have you worked before? How similar is it to what we're asking you to provide? Um, Size, scope, and magnitude, they call it. Excuse me, size, scope, and complexity. How complex is it? Um, that contract is now going to allow us to compete for virtually any contract in the country and be competitive, which will spawn future growth and adding even more teammates to GXC. I would not be shocked if by the end of 2026 we're pushing close to 750 to 1,000 teammates here in the GXC umbrella. So really a lot of big gains and strides made in the tail end of 2025 in the protective security division, and 2026 is looking to be like it's going to follow suit, but maybe a little bit earlier than it took for 2025. For our countermeasure division, had an absolute record year in terms of deployments. Kind of spoke about that a little bit earlier. Kicked down the door for 2025, led with the Super Bowl. We're fortunate enough to bid on the Super Bowl and won it again for 2026. Currently, right now, we are being trusted by CHEA to visit a majority of the metal detectors in the United States at all airports. That's a really, really cool honor because now you're getting into the realm of, in terms of impact, how many people are engaging with the services you provide. I mean, triple-digit millions at that point when you're talking about the most major American airports, and really the plan is for all airports. That project's just starting now, and it's going to lean into 2026 and probably end around April. It's going to require a lot of focus, a lot of resources, and it's all night work. So certainly going to be quite the task, but our technician team is fantastic. So that's kind of how we're starting 2026. From that, we're going to flow right into the Super Bowl in I believe Santa Clara. I keep wanting to say San Francisco because it's where the 49ers play. And just some figures from what's gone on in this past year. There have been 462 different events that our technical operations team has ensured have gone off without a hitch. That's more than one a day, which is incredible to even think about. When I saw these figures, which were provided by Mr. Kruger, the division director, it took me a minute to really comprehend them, because when you think about just 4 years ago, we had maybe 15 events. You know, it's remarkable to see how far we've come and how much trust we've earned throughout the industry. Combined, added up in the aggregate, spent 2,445 days at different events. So each person added up for each event. It's a lot of time. That's a lot of responsibility. We have the open gates that we put out to different events, as well as the PMD2 Plus metal detector that our technicians set up. For the last year, we rented 2,194 open gates. We rented 1,070 PMD2 metal detectors. Again, these detectors are going at concerts, big venues, big events, big sporting arenas, you name it. What's incredible is that just two people really kind of maestroed that operation. It's wild to think about. Moving over to the business operations side. So our business operations team's led by our chief business officer, Matt Hempfling. We're starting to actually get in, leaning further into the facilitation arena in terms of helping organizations through a risk profile, establish protection standards, establish technology and platforms to use at their facilities to keep their people screened, keep their people safe. The account management side's led by Lane Sands, and now our event side is led by Nate Bicker. Both of those gentlemen are directors who have account managers working alongside them here. Some of the highlights that they wanted to share. As a veteran, as a Marine Corps veteran, someone that frequents the VA, it's always remarkable to me how little protection is at the VA facilities. And the VA, I worked for the VA for a little while, and it's a very difficult organization to navigate because they have several layers of bureaucracy. And I say that kindly, set up so that it's very difficult to be able to focus in and lean in on the people that are responsible for the decision making, responsible for the policy, responsible for selecting technology. So it really takes a lot of effort to understand that organization. And one of our newer account managers, a man by the name of Josh Flory, covers our courts, corrections, and veteran affairs sectors, as well as law enforcement customers. He closed our first ever deal with the Department of Veteran Affairs. What that deal's about, so just kind of give you an idea of how deep our organization goes. If you've ever received an MRI on any part of your body for any reason, for any injury, those MRI machines, we know they're big, major magnets. I think it's like magnetic resonance imaging or something is what MRI stands for. Don't kill me if I butcher that. I'm not a medical guy, but bottom line, they're monstrous magnets. And the VA, obviously, with veterans who come back from combat and they, take on some shrapnel, take on some fire, they get stuck with shrapnel peppered inside their body. Well, that's lead, which is magnetic. So if they step into an MRI room and they have magnetic metals in their body, not good, because a lot of times shrapnel is left inside the body because it's safer to keep it there. So really important that if somebody's going to go for an MRI, if they have any metal on them at all. And CHEA manufactures a product called the MSD, which is a wall-mounted, it almost looks like a giant capsule that connects to the door. And when you walk through, it does a screen of any metals that you might have on your person to ensure that when that person steps into that MRI machine, they're not going to be, severely injured or even worse, killed due to the level of metal that they might have in their body. So CHEA has been trying to break into that market for a long while, and Mr. Flory, working closely with CHEA, helped facilitate that, which is fantastic, because now we're impacting and protecting the people that have protected the country and making sure that they're safe to get the care that they need. And it's really remarkable to see how deep our protection goes. It's not just about guns, guards, gates, and gear, right? Now we're stepping into preservation of health of those that have served our country. One of my favorite quotes of all time, George Washington, the eagerness and willingness of the future generations to serve will be determined by how we treat those who served before them. Right? You're not treating your veterans well. Why would anybody have incentive to show up? So things like this, small things like this that the VA do to ensure the veterans are taken care of are huge. And Josh Flory's now just played a major part in that. So shout out to Mr. Flory. Good job. Great job from one veteran to another. Thank you. Really appreciate that. There's also been a lot of growth in colleges, religious venues, and education systems. Ross Sands is just closed a sale with the University of North Colorado. Currently working with an Islamic center in Houston for Open Gates. Tony Pelosi, our inside, she's our quality assurance specialist. What we really like to do now, we notice that in the industry, a lot of people will make a sale, get technology out there. They'll never come back and check how the client was doing. It's kind of like, yeah, we got your money. Thanks for the deal. See you later. Tony's job is to go back and make sure that these customers realize they're not forgotten about, to make sure that the technology is working as designed, that we've not gotten away from the whole reason for being there in the first place. So Tony continues to exemplify our commitment to long-term partnerships. She is constantly ensuring the customer's need for nothing. And it's not a job that has a lot of closing to it. It's more about people don't realize what they need until you remind them or you let them know that they need it. And then you're even having to convince them, even after you get them to agree to it, that they need it. And that's Tony's job. It's not an easy job. So thank you to Tony for doing what you're doing and keeping our people, our clients, taken care of after the fact. That's a very important thing. And then one more note. Matt Portnoy is also a recent account manager who's joined our team. Just helped facilitate a sale to Panda Fest. Look that one up, as well as a loss prevention detection system to a jewelry distributor. So, helping us now through a different channel get out to the market. It's really fantastic. Just something for you to know as an organization. If you Google GXC, we used to land in all different ways. Now we're landing at the top. When you Google us, you Google anything about metal detection, protection, security, you're going to see us climbing the ranks through our search engine and optimization efforts. We want people to know who we are because we've earned this reputation to be trusted. And I've said it before, I feel a personal responsibility. I've been in protection since I was 17 years old. I want to protect everybody we possibly can. So if people don't know we exist, we don't get that opportunity. And all of that helps expand this organization and our responsibility. So the SEO has really been, search engine optimization, has really been very successful and is leading to us getting a lot more notoriety. Just a update on our digital transformation. The last couple of town halls, we've been talking about the transformation of Salesforce. Last town hall, we talked about the transformation to ADP. As I've said before, I will never stop leaning into the future and trying to find ways to shave seconds from our jobs. Our goal, and what I've tasked the leadership team with understanding, is that our job is to take the work out of the job. I happen to believe that nobody ever really wanted to work for GXC. If you tell me that, I'll tell you you're not being truthful with me, because if you dreamed of that as a kid, it'd be impossible because we didn't exist until a couple years ago. This is what you're doing, right? And you're doing it well, and you're doing it because you have to or want to, for whatever reason you're here. But that doesn't mean that I take that for granted. So just because you're here doesn't mean I'm okay with the way things are and that we're going to stop or slow down. So digital transformation, it's not going anywhere. We will continue to have our systems and our technologies and our platforms evolve over time. It's going to happen. Salesforce, from a CRM standpoint, customer resource management standpoint, is fantastic. Team's been using it. Our field service modules required a little bit of work for our technicians, but that's moving right along. Our protective security division, we've not really had a requirement for Salesforce to become integrated at any point. Not saying that there won't be in the future. My goal is to try to always, again, find ways to shave seconds, take the work out of the job. So if there's a way we can utilize Salesforce to deliver schedules cleaner, more accurately, generate schedules through AI, like, I'm going to go and look and discover and investigate all of it. If it means that we're going to save some time and we're going to save some, and we're going to carve some work out of the job. So one thing I always tell people, please do us a favor and send any recommendations, any ideas, any of that, send it up, because one idea can change the world. And I'm always aggressively leaning into changing this place. We're coming to the final stages of setting up a new ADP and payroll and HR system. For those of you that have been here a couple years, I know we've done a couple platform changes with HR, with payroll and all that. We started with ADP years back, and we didn't have a great time with them, so we went and saw what was out there, and we've come to realize that ADP is the best option. So we're back. But now we have a little bit more buying power because we're bigger of an organization. So you should have received a link from ADP to your personal email sometime around December 8th with a login link and a PRC code that you're going to need to make sure you get logged in. If you've not seen the email, please check your junk or spam folder, but we need you to get your ADP enrolled and get on there, select your withholdings, and do all that so that when we run your first payroll, there's no problems. Yeah, it's going to let you view your upcoming pay stubs. It's going to let you change your address if you want to, change your taxes. And pretty soon here, we're going to be issuing instructions on how to submit leave requests through ADP. We're going to start to take all that information and start to channel it through. And if you need additional assistance logging into your ADP account, please make sure to reply to that email from payroll. They can certainly help you out, okay? Right now, if you've not used GXC Connect just yet, please get in there. For right now, it's the current information hub. As we migrate to ADP, we will, again, try to push more information into one spot so we're not having to go to multiple different places to get the same information. So, yeah, a lot of change still coming around the way here. I want to talk a minute for the culture and the leadership of the organization. I don't shy away from the difficult leadership conversations or the philosophy conversations or the culture that we're trying to build here. I fully recognize that it is impossible to please every single person that we have in this organization. I understand there are things that we could do better. I understand that if we know about these things and this information makes it to where it needs to go, that we will focus on these things and try to make them better. It's kind of how we've gotten here. All leadership within GXC is reminded that a good idea doesn't have a pay grade. It doesn't. Our job as leaders is to hear out our team when there's time, right? Engage in these conversations, take any information we possibly can, and try to just make things better in any way possible. That's who we are as an organization. If you can't trust the people that carry the weight to make good recommendations, this isn't the place for you. Not going to say everyone's going to be, the best ideas, and there are some interesting takes, but we have to respect the folks that move this place. That's the challenge, right? It's not an ego thing, not a pride thing. So I simplify it and say a good idea has no pay grade. That's what we need to know. And that's what we need to remember. As we continue to lean into 2026, I'd said this under separate cover with a different town hall, but I want to be careful with how I say this because I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to scare people away, because I'm not. Everybody that's here is here because we want them here. But what I've been coming across lately, and it's very small pockets, is that there's a level of dissatisfaction about something somewhere, and it creeps its way into the workplace. My own philosophy when building this company is that we'll never be perfect, but we will chase excellence, right? We will chase that perfect day. We won't stop doing everything we possibly can to make it right. But sometimes, no matter what you do, some people are just happy to view things the way they view them and remain unhappy. If this organization has even the slightest bit to do with you being unhappy, I want you to go find that happiness outside of here. I don't want you to leave. I don't want anyone to leave. Continuity is a killer when it comes to an organization if you don't have continuity. But what I'm leaning into with 2026, I'm not expecting people to whistle while they work. I'm not expecting people to get GXC tattoos and, rant about how much they love their company. I'm not expecting that. What I am expecting is that if for some reason this place does not align with you and your view of the world and your view of the way things should be, you do have the right to work somewhere else. And the reason I put it this way is as I'm getting out more and more now and I'm speaking with people, there are those that will tell me directly, hey, look, Gennaro, this is a problem. And I don't feel sorry about telling you it's a problem. That gives me an opportunity to explain either what they might be missing or what they don't have access to and help normalize a bit what it is they're saying, right? And either it'll change their mind or it won't. That allows me a better understanding of people. But if it's not working, if it's not for you, I experience other people as well, which are those that are genuinely in love with what they do. Not who they do it for, but what they're doing, right? And what I'm trying to preserve in 2026 is a space for those people to work free of that mentality that creeps in where folks believe that everybody has to hear their opinion of the way the world works. Far be it from me to not recognize a hypocrite when I see one, because I'm sitting here and telling you the way the world, I think, works. The difference is it's my responsibility as a CEO to set the culture. And the culture here is going to be one of, I don't expect you to whistle while you work, but I don't expect you to ruin someone else's day either. While you think there is nobility in complaining, there's not. And I know people that like being here, and I know people that appreciate this organization and feel like we take care of them. It is fully on you, if this place isn't for you, to go find a place that is. I want that for anybody. We all have to spend our waking hours earning to support our families. What we don't have to do is make someone else's day miserable just because we are. Okay? That's really important. And in 2026, you're probably going to hear me say it at all 4 town halls. If you're not happy here, please go find your happiness. And I'm sorry it didn't work out. But I'm not going to have much patience for those that insist on making the workday of others around them that much less enjoyable or tolerable, or whatever euphemism you want to say. I think I hope I'm understood on this. Those GXC principles for the leadership team and for anybody else, if you've not revisited them, I'm going to ask you to. I'm going to be walking around with $100, ready to give it to anybody that can give me all 10 principles off the top of their head. They don't have to be in the exact order, but I am dying to give the money away. It's easy for me to do that because if somebody can recite them, it means they know them enough to call on them when they need them. And I've yet to find someone be able to show me a situation where they couldn't find an answer or have one of those principles serve as a compass to get them moving in the right direction to solve a problem. So when I see you, I hope you are ready to take $100 from me, because that would be fantastic. No paper, no writing it on your hand, no nothing. I want to know from up here, and I want to know what they mean to you, and I want to know when you've ever used one of them. So the word's out. Look forward to being able to give it to you. As we move into 2026, I look back at the year and I kind of marvel at the retention rate we have. A lot of security organizations have a high degree of turnover. We have the opposite. For whatever reason, that might be, I don't really care. I just love that nobody leaves. And for those that did leave, a lot of them come back. That's even better because it lets people know that the grass isn't as green. I'm not saying we're the best, but I'm saying we ain't the worst. So, yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that we hold on to our teammates and they choose to earn their living here. It says a lot about this place. It says about the leadership of the people that are out there earning it every single day. Really proud of that. And I'm also proud of the fact that we are promoting from within a lot through all divisions, through all aspects, through the back office, through HR, finance. Everybody's getting promoted from within, which is a dream for me. Because what I hear time and time again is, where's my career path? What do I What can you do for me? I can do for you what you're willing to do for yourself. And from Cameron to Marissa to Tony in Smithtown to Lane to Ethan Miller. I mean, I can go on and on about names of people that have gotten promoted internally this year, and I'm so damn proud of you. You're helping the culture of this place come true and be true. My biggest fear as a CEO is thinking the company runs a certain way and it doesn't. I know CEOs who believe their companies run a certain way and they'll tell the world about it. They'll brag about it. But then you go talk to their people and that's not what goes on. That's not what goes on. That is my biggest fear as the CEO of GXC, is that what we say is not what we do, and what we do is not what we say. Keep that in mind for whenever you see it going on. No matter the level, no matter the location, no matter the position, no matter the responsibility. If we are saying we're supposed to be doing something and we're not, I need to know. Because I will not let this place turn into that type of organization. There's way too many of them out there. Let me tell you how great we are. And then you go talk to their people and they say, yeah, we don't actually do any of that. That's not what we're going to be. Over the next couple weeks, we'll be posting a couple different positions. Obviously, we're hiring in mass for all these new FPS contracts. I also forgot about the New York City contract. Not really sure of the exact location within New York City at the moment, but it's looking likely that we have an opportunity to take over some Federal Protective Service work in the New York City area. And for all of our unarmed officers, for all of our armed officers on different contracts, these are opportunities to move to these federal contracts and earn a really good living. These federal contracts pay incredibly well. So if you're looking to advance in your career, we've talked about it before, you have to invest in yourself and do some development, right? In a lot of ways, we'll actually help with it, right? But you have to go find those resources, ask your leadership, and run it up the chain, right? And get yourself in line. But we can't drag you there, right? Principle number 7, we take volunteers here, not hostages. If I got to drag you anywhere, I'm going to leave you where I found you, because there are way too many people as part of this organization that are moving their feet faster than I am, right? I'm trying to keep up. We need volunteers. So yeah, there'll be new job openings announced on GXC Connects. Eventually, they'll be pushed into ADP. But if you're looking to push your career a little bit further, please make sure you're looking at these opportunities. Again, we are a progress over perfection or an excellence over perfection organization. I don't expect everybody gets it right or perfect, okay? That's really important for everybody to know. The bar here is high, but it is one that everybody can meet and everybody can surpass. I know that. At the end of the year here, one of the better things that we get to do is announce countermeasure technicians of the year, back office of the year, PSO of the year, leader of the year. Like a lot of different awards are coming out for people who've really earned it over the course of the last year. So looking forward to being able to receive those nominations and pick the best of the best and honor and award those who have done a really great job this year. And I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of really great work here. Can't award everybody, right? So the most compelling argument for the candidate wins, and that's on the strength of the leadership team to write those nominations, those citations to get them in. But really looking forward to seeing that and being able to award people for their hard work. In 2026, as we close out here, I struggle to put into words what I believe is coming. What I know is coming down the pipe here. Now's the time. If you're looking to move professionally, if you're looking to develop something internally for some process, now's the time. and I'm speaking to everybody. They say as a CEO, the number one time to look for money is before you need it. And I see why that's possible, because you need to borrow money to be able to grow your company. You don't want to be looking for that when you need it, because you're going to run out of time. So with the expansive growth that is coming in 2026 in both the protective security division and the countermeasure division operationally, understand finance, HR, quality control, asset management, chief of staff office, business office. Understand the time is now. Start thinking about those things you're going to need now, because once 2026 kicks off, it is going to be a crazy one. I want to thank everybody for their tremendous work over the last year. As we close out this year and we move towards the holiday season, I hope all of you take some time to reflect on the year, spend some time with your family, and embrace what's most important. When we reemerge on the flip side of the new year, hold on. Hold on. I can't believe I almost forgot this. Yesterday, early in the morning, we were notified by the World Cup that we were selected to help protect the World Cup throughout 11 cities in the United States and Canada. I can't believe I forgot to talk about that, because I'm not sure there is a bigger stage. Soccer or football is the most popular sport on the planet. And it's coming to the North American continent. Last year, we did not win the World Club Cup. The World Club Cup, very similar to the World Cup, but club-based, runs a year before the World Cup. We were selected to protect or to relocate the detectors here in MetLife Stadium where they were running the World Club Cup. But we didn't get the majority of the responsibility last year. We lost to another company who didn't get it this year, seemingly. So from protecting a small library chain in Smithtown, New York, to protecting the World Cup, what don't we touch in between there? What responsibility don't we have? It's becoming more and more common that no matter where you go in this country, and I really want everybody to reflect on this, whether you're passing through an airport, a college, a school, a theater, an arena, a stadium, you're going to run into us. We're going to be the ones that are responsible for ensuring your safe passage. Whether you're going to a federal building to get benefits or to take care of some government process, no matter where you go, we're there. I don't know of a lot of organizations that offer a service the way that we do, that span all those sectors. It's surreal that you seemingly can't go anywhere in America without running into us. And now that we're responsible for helping with all the airports across the country, I mean, I'm just having a moment here because it's kind of insane to think about, but really cool. So that's the company that you work for. That's the organization you choose to spend your time with. We have that level of responsibility. So even if you're standing a post, you might not be at the World Cup, but you're part of the organization that is. You're directly connected. You doing your job on that post allows us to go do our job at that World Cup, and vice versa. We are in a house of cards. We're not so easy to fall down. But the interreliability we have of every single team member, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, is indisputable. Over 2026, I am encouraging the back office team to get out more and go see these things that we do. And it's a very easy connection for me to make for anybody and everybody about how every single person here is responsible for what we do at every juncture. You can't sit there and say, you know what? I'm an administrative assistant. I'm not out there protecting. I'm not out there doing it. I'm not. Well, if you're an administrative assistant, let's just say for HR, right? You're the one that's helping post the job ad. You're the one that's helping the onboarding process, ensuring that everybody's paperwork's proper, that they're onboarded to the systems properly, that they get over to payroll so they can get paid for the work they do. And if you've ever had a problem with your pay before or something HR-based before, if you're doing your job and you're on that post or you're on that event or you're at that event and you're sitting there thinking about your HR issue or your payroll issue, you're not doing your job as best as you possibly could because your focus is somewhere else. So the connection is, it doesn't matter if you're at the event or you're not. That administrative assistant is responsible for ensuring that event goes off without a hitch by ensuring that their portion of what they're responsible for is done well for the person that's there. Right? Directly connected, direct line. And you can do that with any position in this organization. You can draw a direct line from you to the role you play, to what you do, to the role that is played out on site, in person, which is really cool. So I hope there are no conversations over the holiday season when people talk about their jobs that start with, well, I just do this. I ask you think about what your organization does and the impact that you have and how impossible it is for us as an organization to succeed without every single person here. And that's why I'm focused so much on, if you have something not nice to say, don't say it. Protect somebody else's peace if you're not going to protect your own. We don't have to sing Kumbaya. We don't have to hold hands and be besties. Okay? We don't got to be Facebook friends. We don't got to do all that. It's not what I'm asking. I'm asking protect your peace. And if that piece is here, fantastic. If it's not, I want you to go get it because I want that for everybody. But if it is, I'm glad you're here. I want you to stay here, and I'm going to ensure that your peace is protected. That's a culture. That's our culture. That's what we will stand for, and that's why we're successful. And that's why the world, that's why the country can trust us, because we focus on things like this, and you focus on things like this. So thank you. Thank you for what you do, day in, day out. We will continue to reach for the highest heights because I love the fact that we hold the responsibility of protecting everything that we protect. And we do it well. So why would we stop? We'll keep going. Thank you. Happy holidays to everybody out there. I hope you enjoy some time with your families. Again, really proud of everybody and everything that goes on here. So until, I'd say, March 2026, I'll see you out there. I'll see you soon. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you then.